Welcome to the Jamaica Selectboard meeting for August 23rd. First, we'll call for any late additions to the agenda.
I don't have anything.
Okay, next thing we can do is approve the minutes for the August 9th Selectboard meeting.
Excuse me, I cannot hear you. I could hear before you got started, and
Huh?
Let me shut the door.
I don't
No.
think it's on my end.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Kate?
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Jessica?
I can hear.
Okay, maybe it is. Sorry.
Andy, I apologize too. I was on mute and I wanted to add something to the agenda.
What do you want to add?
What?
The appointment of our school board.
I can't hear anything.
Represented.
I'll leave and I'll come back and see if that helps.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta add the school board.
Okay.
Go ahead, Greg.
It was the item, I think I copied you this morning and I'm now looking at my email right now, that, for our school board representative to the, school district. I'm not sure if we need to endorse that or actually formally approve that.
I don't believe we do anything with it.
Recommend.
We can recommend some, yeah, I don't think we have to do anything
We recommended
necessarily.
it, and that was my thinking too, so.
Okay.
It doesn't be added to the agenda, or we can recommend it again.
Sure. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 9th Select Board minutes.
Second. Any discussion about the minutes? All those in favor of approving the, what was the date again?
9th.
August 9th Select Board minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nobody's abstaining?
Can you hear us, Kate?
I didn't hear I just heard something about abstaining. I didn't hear what came before.
Voting on the minutes?
Yes.
You can,
Aye.
all right, number 3 is an update, discussion on roads and repair after our last flooding here. So, maybe Terry's gonna speak about that.
Well, all the roads are passable, I would say. They're not exactly finished, and they can't be finished until FEMA comes in and provides the declaration. So we did emergency measures. We did some riprap by Tom's and 2 sections on West Jamaica Road so that there's now 2 lanes again. And we're just waiting on FEMA.
So they haven't, the governor hasn't and FEMA hasn't and,
They did the preliminary damage assessment 2 weeks after the event, and I have not heard any more about it, so.
I'm still concerned by Andy and ours is that I was down in the river on Saturday. There's a couple of spots which are very top heavy, let's just say that, where you have big rocks up, there's nothing underneath it. And if it hit those, that's just gonna, 2 spots just gonna topple right in front of my house, so.
Well, like I said, the engineer will be out here
Okay.
Thursday afternoon to take a look at that and some other sections of road that may need some assistance, but I want him to look
Okay,
and tell us what he thinks.
I may,
Did we put together an estimate of initial costs or?
V-Trans did for us, and that's what
Oh,
they sent in
okay.
for the preliminary damage assessment.
Okay, and did we think it sounded right or we had issues? I didn't see anything, so I didn't know.
I actually didn't see it either, so he sent it directly to the state, the district. Mark Pickering sent it to the state. I can get a copy from him. I know Turkey Mountain Road was, I wanna say 150,000 plus just for that road.
Right, sounds right.
So then you add in Pikes Falls, West Jamaica, all the other little feeder
right.
roads.
There was like an email from Paul where he was like, it's at least 200,000, something like that, so
Yeah.
I was curious where that netted out. But it was, Mr. Pickering on his own, huh? He just.
Yeah, he was out here, well, let's see, that happened Thursday night. He was out here, I believe, on Sunday
Monday.
Okay.
or Monday.
Monday. I met him on Water Street. He was just out there. I went out and chatted with him. And he said he was going around. He had started in Dummerston and was
Okay.
kind of working his way up.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah, it would just be, I think, I wasn't sure what the process is for that information to be shared with us, so that we could react to it and Keith as well, to weigh in if needed.
Yeah, well, it's kind of depend on FEMA and what they do, and then it depends on whether they call it, if we meet the threshold for a large project or it doesn't meet that
Right.
threshold, and
Right.
so there's still a bunch of things that really need to be ironed out before, well, them declaring the disaster would be a good first start.
That would
so.
be good. That would be good. Yeah.
But I
Okay.
mean, I am
All right.
keeping track of it by road, everything that we've spent so far.
Right.
So when the time comes, it'll be easy to just throw it into a project worksheet and off we go.
And do a comparison between what they're offering and what we've spent. No, I agree. I just,
Yeah.
to the extent there's a big disparity now, I guess I would, it'd be good to know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any big disparities. I haven't even added up Turkey Mountain. Actually, I don't have all the bills for that road anyway, so I can't. We're up to about
okay.
130,000 just in gravel, so.
Right.
We're gonna meet the disaster
Oh, yeah.
threshold.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where I read or how I think I know this, but whatever Pickering said. that-
Well, it's based on the county.
Right.
It's overall damage in the county, and then it's based on per capita of the county. You have to have, $3.56 per person in damage, so I think we probably met both.
We had
Yes.
plenty of damage.
Yeah.
The question is, does Wyndham county qualify? I think the answer is
Yeah, because Putney and Rockingham were huge.
Or Rockingham, right?
Do you know when the guy's coming Thursday afternoon?
I believe at noon or 1 o'clock.
Is he going to be on water? Is that one of the spots?
That's one of them, yeah.
I'll try to switch my schedule. I'd like to be there.
Tom, you think you can go?
I'll work it out. Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I'll work it out.
That would be great.
Well, when he comes, who does he go
Me. I mean, I sent him a list of sites
with? Okay.
and basically what we needed him to look at. And he will come back and give us recommendations, and then, there's one bridge up on West Jamaica Road. We've gotta get the riprap put back in there because it's gone. It's just gone.
Does Keith join you, Terry?
Yeah, he's here.
I'll make a point. Call me. I'll make a point to be on the Thursday.
Okay.
We're in town.
That would be great.
I'll go around.
Well, he didn't, he hasn't had a whole lot of time lately, Keith hasn't, but now
Right.
that everything has kind of calmed down until we can get the top coat put on.
Right.
So,
Right.
we will.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful to have his expertise, and
Yeah.
also even just to hear.
Yeah. Yep, I'll let him know. I don't think I told him today because there was a bunch of stuff going on when he was in here, so.
Okay.
I will.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board about that, or?
No.
Okay. All right. Item 4 is decision and selection of Bridge 32 alternative, the Jamaica State Park Bridge on Depot Street. So I guess we need to make a decision about that tonight.
Tonight was kind of somewhat arbitrary, only because V-Trans said the sooner the better. And if it slipped too far into the fall, we may risk pushing it off a year. It's gonna take some initial work anyways to get the project going, and it's still a couple of years out, so.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I remember this date being like, her saying this was like the last meeting. So if the decision was made tonight, that wouldn't happen, it wouldn't be postponed.
Right.
Well, what are we gonna, wanna have some discussion about this? I've got an opinion, but I'd rather hear some other board members first.
Did you get the thing I sent out this afternoon with the numbers on it?
Do you both have that? And Greg?
I saw it, unfortunately, I haven't had much access to be able to dig in too much
Okay.
for what Carrie put up today. I'm assuming that was just some different, scenario, based on the couple of scenarios, what the cost would be to the town over the course of a certain period of time.
And tax increases, right, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My opinion, I can say my opinion, I like the idea and, you know, with the fire department talking about, you know, what their needs are. I know that there's residents there who want to do some logging back there. I would like to see the new bridge put in and then take the older bridge and then have it as a pedestrian bridge. I think as it's, you know, it's historical or whatnot. I know that potentially could cost the town down the road, but I don't think we want to do a half-assed job, you know, and just refurbing that bridge. Is that going to meet all of our needs, you know? And it's going to meet the needs if, you know, Corps of Engineers needs to get back there too. Now, I know no one's giving us anything, so State Park isn't giving us anything, Corps of Engineers isn't giving us anything, but as a town, do we want to then say we don't want to do it the right way, you know? Now, the thing that does concern me is the amount of taxes that are going to go up. Even on a 3-year plan, you know, a house that's worth $200,000, you're looking at $100 each year, or over $100 each year, and that's a lot of money for some people. So, I mean, that's something else we need to consider is that, you know, can we afford it? You know, can the taxpayer afford it, not the town? But that's my take on it.
All the taxpayers.
All the taxpayers.
We'd be pricing people out of here that already live here. You know, with that project, say a $440,000 we gotta come up with for the new bridge. But, you know, we're still paying off the town garage. You know, we got a big bond on that that's only 5 years in, 25 years left on that.
We're 4 years in 2017.
4 years in. We still are trying to pay back money we didn't recoup from Irene, which is 10 years ago this week. And obviously we may incur some new debt with this new flooding. I'm forgetting something. Didn't we get some kind of relief on our taxes this year, sort of false promise?
Well, yeah, that is another thing. For this year and next year, they have waived the penalty for overspending in this for the school taxes, but depending on what happens with the weighting study, that could come back in 2 years, like the year before this starts. And it was 11 cents this year on the tax rate, so it could potentially be twice that when it comes back.
And just to continue on, I'll turn it over to the rest of the board. There is one option to refurbish the bridge that will handle fire trucks, that'll handle a log truck. You know, some of that logging they want to do the state park does, I think. There might be some, doesn't matter, some logs that come over the bridge. I mean, they don't have to come over loaded with maple or, you know, they could, you know, and then we permit excess weights for over, what would that be on, was that gonna be good for 40?
40,000 pounds.
40,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd love to have a new bridge, but we'll take over the old bridge, which has been working. I know it needs some help, but you know, I don't know if you've looked at that thing, but it's going to need to be painted once we get the new bridge, and I can't really find out where all that money's going to come from. That would be a huge job once that thing starts to disintegrate more. I mean, I don't know if we really want to absorb a bridge that's already been handling everything going across it. I know not at the greatest ease at sometimes, but thousands of cars into the park. Everybody's got fuel, and what, with the bridge that we've got, it was for 16,000 now?
8 tons?
Yeah.
8
Tons.
tons.
We're 8
8 tons, right.
16,000.
Which, you know, I was told, I won't say by who, but his name just came up earlier, that it would take a hell of a lot more weight than that. But if anything ever did happen, that would be on the town of Jamaica. You know, they wouldn't say it would take twice that weight, but I, you know, in talking to some people, I don't know how the 4 residents feel, but I think that if we can get a refurbished bridge, if we can get the bridge redone and can handle, personally, the Corps of Engineers has got their own agenda. We've reached out to them, we haven't heard anything through our liaison. They're gonna do something in 2024, but we gotta build a bridge big enough so they can bring over their heavy construction Tonka truck, those big, huge, you know, the huge. I'm not as a board member or a taxpayer really concerned about them being able to use our bridge. That's something that kind of irritates me a little bit, that they're not. And, you know, you've heard me talk about this before. Years ago, they were talking about, they inspected our bridge and gave it a way less rating than V-Trans did. And I think so that we would put a bigger bridge up for them to use. And then another thing they told me was that they wouldn't use that bridge. They put up their own, but we couldn't use that bridge while we were building a new one. All of that I have in emails at home somewhere. I can't find them. Then they said that all the funding for the dam spillway projects, the Ball Mountain Dam, and now it's the gates, that all that funding nationwide was suspended. And now they're retracting that, saying they never heard of anything said like that. I had emails from the state park that said that they were putting all that on hold. Now when they hear we're building a bridge, it's just my opinion. We're building a bridge, they're gonna do something too in 2024, and they don't wanna talk with us about what? So, I'm not really concerned. Of course, I don't want the dam to break and flood the town out, which I don't think that's gonna happen. But I think it would be a lot easier to just refurbish this one, but I may not be around that much longer, but someone is gonna absorb taking care of that bridge, the old bridge. I think that might be a huge expense, plus maintenance on our new one. Don't we have to do that too?
Yes.
So, you know, my goal would be to take the refurbished bridge at a much heavier load rating. And part of the allure of going to the park, I don't know about the homeowners going there every day, is that beautiful green bridge going over the West River. Isn't that kind of nice to go over that and makes it sometimes the most popular park in Vermont. It hasn't been for 3 years, but sometimes it is. But they don't seem to want to really help us financially either. With a couple problems we have with the park, one being their access and their Hamilton Falls parking or lack of. So I just want to make it clear that I think the town is on the hook for some extra money, and this might not break the bank, but other things may come up or are going to come up to increase the tax rate. That's.
And I'd like to add in a little bit on that too. I think my big thing, I would love to have a new bridge, and if you said, okay, which bridge you want, and everything else being even, just take one, but we're always gonna have that historic bridge that's not going away. And I'm a little concerned too, not just with the initial cost, but going down the road, we're gonna be maintaining 2 bridges. And at 20 tons, that's significant to get the fire truck over there, and maybe it's only a half tank of oil or things like that, or like you said, it's not gonna be the full maple truck, but it's my belief, again, my own opinion, that the bridge serves its purpose at the 20 tons, will serve its purpose. I do think, back to another point you said, I do think some of this initial project would be to paint the bridge, the existing one, and rehabilitate it, even if we went with a new one, but I think if we go that far, let's get it done, and the state park and the Army Corps are certainly important pieces of what's going on over there, but we can't fully just say we're doing this for them, especially the Army Corps still got 3 more miles to go up the rail trail to get to the dam, even if they had the Golden Gate going across the river. But that's my opinion, so that's my view.
But just about the weight, I think an oil truck, I could have called Code and asked them, but I didn't really have time to, or, I think that they could go overloaded, fully loaded, not that they would need to, but I don't know what those trucks weigh, but
Well,
33,000 pounds fully loaded.
33?
so they could.
So they could go overloaded if they wanted to. And I don't know if Paul knows the weight of a tanker, but I'm sure it's been over there before anyway. That was my biggest concern, was the load rating in the cosmetics and, in the tax, the cost. So I already said that. So Jessica, would you like to say something?
I will say that, it does, the dam does concern me, right? But ultimately, maintaining the dam is the responsibility of the Army Corps of Engineers, and they do have ostensibly they have a budget for that work. So no matter what, there will be at some period of time, hopefully it can be coincidental, a use for the temporary bridge that has to be put in place in order to rehab the old bridge, if we go with option 2. So, this is a multi-year project. I'm perhaps overly optimistic that some of these tensions between the town and the Army Corps of Engineers could be harmonized during that time, so that there could be a savings to both projects. The experts at the fire department are concerned about the ultimate limitations on the bridge. Yes, this improvement is gonna help, and some emergency equipment will fit on the rehab bridge. But it's self-limiting, right? If you have a canopy, by definition, you can't grow the equipment. But there's a limited number of homes across the bridge, so it's a balancing act. I hear your point about the finances and the burden on individuals, but I think that Terry's Excel file is extremely informative. There is an option for financing a new bridge that is much less of an eyesore for the lower value homes. And so I think with a 3-year option where we're looking to the reserve account for the 3rd year, that could tremendously ease the burden. There's not a huge difference between option 3 for the new bridge and option 1 for the rehab. I'm not sure I'm as moved, not moved, don't get me wrong, I absolutely hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure there's as much of an appreciable difference between those two options that would drive the decision. The concept of maintaining 2 bridges is true. So it's not just this initial cost, but it's gonna have to be woven into our budget on an ongoing basis to maintain the older bridge. The new bridge, it kind of gives us the have our cake and eat it too. On the other hand, I hear it in my own mind and I'm hearing what I'm saying. I'm not feeling as strongly one way or the other. I could see us making either decision, and either decision could be reasonable. So I'm sorry I'm being a little wishy-washy, but I do kind of feel that, both could be a wise choice for the town. And I do remain concerned, and I mentioned this when we last spoke about it. If we go with the new bridge, there is going to be a it sure looked to me like there's gonna be a permanent taking from some private owners, of property.
Jessica, if I can, I looked at those drawings again, I didn't see that. If you look at where that road comes in, even on the new bridge, it pretty much curves right onto the existing road for the state park, and then there's a little boot off that connects it to the old road. So I don't think it's gonna affect
So the road into the park is immediately, it's on the bank of the river, right? So it's an L, right? You've got the bridge, the existing bridge, and here's the roadway. The next bridge comes here by about 100 feet to the far side of the walkway. So that means you've got 100 feet beyond the current bridge that's gonna be consumed. If you go along the roadway that goes to the next drive, which is Jamar and Christina, it's only up about 15 feet. So I'm not a surveyor, but it sure looked to me like there's some additional portion beyond, it can't possibly go directly in. There's that little triangle. And I'm finding it confusing. And I know we reached out to the project team, but we haven't heard back definitively how they came to the conclusion that it doesn't touch, that the project will not require some measure of taking, both from the park and from at least one private homeowner.
I definitely see the park, and again, I thought the same thing that you saw. And when I was looking at this, and then when I looked at it today, that's when I had this revelation of like, wait a second, that the Robinsons' driveway is located on the far right of the picture, and the old road is. And so if you compare both of them, I hear what you're saying. It's going to be a tight turn coming into the park still. But I really don't think it's going to encroach out that far. I don't know.
Did you walk out there?
I did walk out there before, yeah.
All right. So I couldn't see a visual. I couldn't see literally I walked up to about 50 feet north of the existing bridge. I decided to be conservative. It looked to me on the plan like the farthest portion of land that gets disturbed by the project, whether the bridge is temporary or permanent, is 100 feet. But I said, okay, let's say it's 50 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I counted up 50 feet along the riverbed, and I walked even as generously as I could towards the existing roadway. And I'm not an expert, but I was on Christina and Jamar's land. So I just didn't, I struggled with it.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going from what the drawings were. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So from the drawings that they drew, I don't see them encroaching on anybody's land except for the state park and whoever owns that land on the other side. Obviously, because if they're redirecting the bridge.
I agree. And in fact, in the meeting, when I asked the question, they said there's no private ownership involved, which I didn't see how that happened on the other side.
Right, the other side definitely.
So I saw that the drawings seemed to avoid Christina and Jamar's property and property on, well, not really property on the other side. So I just wanted to walk it. When I walked it, I just couldn't see it.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm not a surveyor.
Right.
Well, that's gonna be a concern for either option.
Either option.
One's gonna be permanent, one's gonna be temporary. To make it part of this, once we determine, it's gonna happen.
Right.
Whether it's,
Right.
I didn't quite see it either, and I didn't get out with a tape measure either, but I was kind of seeing it the same way Tom is, that from the front and but that's not really it either. Maybe we should get down there with a surveyor, because once we decide one way or the other, yes, option A or B, we're gonna have to say it goes to here, put driver's stake of it.
They're gonna tell us where it goes.
Right. And then we have to decide if we need to condemn land
And it not infringing on any private property, they might be talking about the Jamaica State Park might be getting infringed upon. But anyway,
Okay.
Did you walk up by any chance? Did you walk
I've
over there?
been out there lots of times, but
Okay.
I just thought it was pretty much gonna stay the same.
What do you mean?
I think that's what the drawings indicate that, yes, the new bridge will be a bit upstream, but it will basically be in the same location it will come off. My more fear too is that it's gonna be a tight turn. You're gonna come off that bridge and have to turn right up onto, into the park. I don't know.
Right, exactly. The way it was drawn, I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
It
Right.
sure looks like it has to be a sharp left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty sharp left, but,
right.
um,
So that's, I don't think that's a reason necessarily, I think that's, Tom, to your point, that's an issue whether we're doing a temporary bridge or a permanent bridge. It's just, there's gonna be a disturbance there of some sort. If it's north of if the temporary bridge is north of the bridge, or the solution is north of the bridge.
Right.
The thing is it a permanent taking or a temporary taking? So.
Right.
But yeah, so ultimately, I'm sorry I'm not being more definitive. I can see us going either way, and either of those options, working for the town.
Okay,
Paul raised his hand.
Kate, shouldn't have Kate.
call on Kate first, or you got something that's gonna help us?
You looked at me at the question about weight, I just checked, 20 tons.
Okay.
20 tons?
40,000 pounds?
Capacity.
Pretty sure it's
2,000 pounds a ton.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, I'll repeat, 20 tons.
Okay,
But that's a fully loaded tank truck.
Which is what the bridge is being
Yes.
posted for.
perfect. Load it up.
Not a skinny kid in there.
How about you, Kate?
I'm just concerned that if we do the repair, though, that's the way I lean, because I tend to be frugal and I'm worried about people's taxes, but, I worry if it's, pay me now or pay me later, kind of, and it may be easy to kick it down the road to other people, but, yeah, so I could be swayed either way, I guess. That's the way I lean, though.
Oh, from people that live across the street.
Right,
That's fine.
if the board has nothing else to say, I'm gonna, not wait for public concerns, and there's a couple of residents here.
And also,
And also the-
Kristen's there too.
Kristen, is that you? I can't see that far.
Okay.
Hi.
Kristen Wilson.
So, one of you ladies like to go first?
Okay, I'm Alice Abraham and my wife Christina Healy
Hi.
at 536 Depot Street. And yes, I agree, it's a complicated decision. I'm concerned, and I'll let you weigh in separately. I'm concerned about keeping the existing bridge in parallel as a pedestrian bridge. In terms of upkeep and added expense. I would rather see the existing bridge refurbished, otherwise a brand new bridge. As far as what you were talking about with the left turn into the state park, we've already had situations with wider turning space there when there are cars parked on the right where they shouldn't be, where it's posted now, and these signs are always ignored. We've had large vehicles, trailers, trucks, and the like, getting stuck and blocking the road for some time until they get untangled. And they do the same even pulling into Jamar's driveway. I'm sorry that the Jamar and Christina and Wally Holden's the other household, they've had planned to make it tonight, and I was hoping they'd log on. Do you have any questions of me in terms of being an resident on that end of the street? And Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it has more, the refurbishing, I think, is a good idea. I do love the bridge, that's fine. And to refurbish, as long as, my whole thing is the major safety and the weight. We have, we've had to have ambulance come to our home and that kind of stuff, we want to be sure, but also the septic, or best septic, I know at one point they had to bring a small truck up and do our septic and go down and offload it then that's recently to a larger truck because of the weight issue. So the weight issue is a big thing for me. The safety is a big thing for me, and Refurbishing, I am absolutely fine with refurbishing versus a new bridge, as long as it's safe and we can enjoy it and drive over. As Alice said, there was some talk about that being a pedestrian bridge and then a brand new bridge. I agree. I have a feeling that maybe the town wouldn't be able to maintain a really nice pedestrian bridge money-wise and maintenance and that, so you don't want to see something falling apart just because it can't be maintained. That's mine.
And I just also want a note on, of course, for the record, that Jamar had some business right there, Be Well Farm, and a lot of traffic coming to that. And also Wally is a stonemason, and so, you know, potentially would have a heavy load coming across, though he's avoiding that now. But, so it impacts people's livelihood there on the street.
So it's 20 tons what would be rated?
Kristen?
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for this conversation. I would agree with Alice and with what Andy had said, that I'm swaying towards the refurbish is a better choice. I think taking on two bridges and the maintenance of that, taking a long view of that, I'm not so sure. I'm tentative on that. I think the town should get a better clarity of where the bridge is going. No one clearly knows where it's going and where it's supposed to go. So I think that would be an important thing to do, to try to get that clarified before we go forward on everything. That's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is this on there? I can't see.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm here, Christina and Jamar got stuck in traffic, they were coming back from the Northeast Kingdom for the meeting. And so they're obviously very concerned about their land. And you know, I think they love the Green Bridge too, and I think they would love to see it refurbished, but I think they really want to make sure that the land is carefully surveyed. They don't want to lose the land that's toward the state park.
Right.
And I'm not sure what else they're going to say, but anyway, that's, and the whole thing is still getting, they're still getting.
Yeah, they contacted me and said they were about an hour out, and that was about an hour.
Right.
Pretty close, yeah, about an hour. So they said maybe it could be here. But,
Well, I don't know if we need to know the exact, you know, where that is gonna end up on the other side, then we can't vote on it. Because once we vote on it, one or the other, they're gonna have a plan. They're gonna throw up a temporary bridge. And, you know, either fix our old one or put a new one up. So, I mean, once we decide, I think, I don't know how much say we've got in, well, if Jamar's gonna lose 50 yards of property or something,
yeah.
that'd be nice to know, but at the same time, we're pressured to make it, we've really waited till the last minute now. And is this the first time I've heard this concern about Jamar's? Or did I miss something there?
I think there was some concern that the people had blocked it.
I raised
Jessica-
I raised it at the meeting. I raised it at a couple meetings.
Right.
I was up in.
And I thought also you were talking about, you know, if they go digging around in there might be artifacts and.
Oh, yeah.
There's gotta be a study if they moved it somewhere, I don't know. I got a lot of notes not here, but
Greg,
That's
what?
part of it, isn't that part of the project plan automatically?
I think so.
Yes, that they have to do historical.
And the other part, I do believe we have a fair amount of say in we could do how we want to move forward. Obviously, do nothing really isn't an option. And we can see what we're concerned about, and I think we have some pull in and saying we'd like to, have the road come in at this angle, or have this sweeping, have the temporary bridge land here, or any of those types of things. I think can still kind of go on after we make a decision.
Right. I think, the decision is really the new bridge versus rehabbing the existing bridge. That's,
And some of the the timing of the urgency of it is that it's gonna take a while to do these studies to, for, historical aspects and those types of things. So there's a lot of work in progress before there's a shovel on the ground.
So I'm looking at Laura Stone's email, basically says, yeah, if we get going into September, there's very little wiggle room in the project delivery schedule. I mean, the question is, can we put this off one more meeting, gives people a chance to maybe walk out there to do some measurements, not necessarily get a surveyor out there, but.
I think if we did that, we would have to have a surveyor, and I think, I think a decision has to be made. I mean, I don't know how much you guys have been looking into this and sort of worrying about it, but I mean, I'm sure the residents would like to know what we're gonna do, and I know there's more people concerned than just the residents, and not to, give them any less, say or anything, but I'm looking at it like for the whole town, not just what the select board wants, Before I open up to the public, I wanna know if we're gonna, are we done talking about this?
They're just about to go over. Yes.
Is that them?
That's, I don't know, is that John?
Excuse me.
Mary Ann's raised her hand.
Someone raising their hand?
Mary Ann.
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm sorry to be a pain, but do we have any concerns about eminent domain and stuff like that? Because that gets really ugly,
Yeah.
I mean, I got rights away through my property. I'm like, I live with them, but that's a huge thing to have a bridge through your yard, right? I would just hate to see somebody come in and condense something arbitrarily and take it. They never pay market value and something is priceless.
No.
In this story, I'm done saying anything.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, if I can speak to that, I think again, speaking for myself, but I feel this is the board's feeling too, is that would be a last course.
Completely.
We want to avoid eminent domain in every possible way. And I'm, at least initially, not seeing that we're gonna have to go there. I mean, that wouldn't need to be our recourse or anything like that. I don't know if that's the right term, but I think all that stuff will be evaluated, and the board will stand strongly to say that that's our last action if we needed to go there. That's what I'm thinking.
But wouldn't that have come up in the presentation from V-Trans?
We did talk about that though, but when like I say, if you look at the drawings, guys, there is the way the road is, it even says connects to existing road. It comes right over and it curves up, so I'm just saying, from what I'm seeing in this, there is no eminent domain. I don't think that's even an issue. I don't think there's, other than the state park and the other side of the river, on the town side of the river, whoever owns that property where it's all.
It's gonna be the school property.
And if we refurb the bridge, there's no eminent domain anyway, because we're using the existing bridge with the existing right of way. So, yeah.
Right, if I can speak for a moment?
Go ahead.
So to what Tom was just saying, if it's using the refurbished bridge and you only have a temporary bridge up there, and in terms of Jamar's and Christina's property, then there may be some temporary excavation or something, but something could probably be worked out with them in returning it, since they are already cutting the hillside a little bit there towards the road. It may benefit them in that way.
Is that it from the board? You got something to say?
Just say I'm not a town resident and taxpayer, and I don't live there, but I do cross it for all my friends that live there, and I would go with them on the refurbishment. I would go with the ready for the refurbishment, agree with the original bridge. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I think we should vote on this now.
I'll make a motion that we go with the $140,000 per year. Is that, what is it? The refurbishment of the bridge,
Is it 100?
bridge number 23, at the costing $140,000 per year.
No.
No, which one? Help me with this, sorry.
Okay,
Well,
so we're
sorry,
talking about
I make a motion that we-
refurbishment at $154,000.
I'm sorry, thank you. I make a motion that we, that the select board recommends to V-Trans that we refurbish Bridge 23 at a total cost of $154,000 to taxpayers.
Is that the right bridge number? 32?
32, yes.
32, I'm sorry.
I wrote that. I wrote 32.
Over 2 years. Financing over 2 years, you're saying.
I didn't say, no, I didn't talk about financing. I just said for a total cost of 154, we can decide that later if we want to do 2 years or 3 years. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say we don't lock ourselves in at this point.
So what was that motion, Sarah?
I got a little backwards and he said, Tom made a motion to go with the refurbishment of Bridge 32 at $154,000 and recommend this to V-Trans.
Second. Any further discussion? Well, no hearing. That's it. All those in favor of, I can't remember that motion,
Refurbishing Bridge 32.
refurbishing Bridge 32, the Jamaica State Park Bridge, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nobody abstaining? Okay, and then, well, thank you, public. Thanks for zooming in.
Thanks, guys.
And, you know, please be assured that we'll find out about any, you know, any infringement or anything that we didn't hear about before. We certainly would be an advocate for the homeowners.
Of course, yeah. I didn't, like I say, and especially what it was saying, if we, you know, if we're reusing the old bridge and refurbishing the old bridge, any sort of temporary bridge is temporary.
Right.
Even if they have to put something in, they take it out. You remember when we had the temporary bridge here in Main Street? So they took it out, you can tell it was over there. So,
Yeah, so you just have temporary easements for
Right.
the
yep,
bridge.
exactly.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So that's all we had to vote on concerning the bridge. All right, now number 5, set dates associated with cannabis revote. I'm not really up on the dates, but I'll put any heat on the clerk, but do you have some
I would recommend
suggestions?
having it sooner than later because it's gonna be winter soon and it's gonna snow because we live in Vermont. So I would just rather have it a day people can come out. I'm not worried about staying until 7 o'clock at night and driving home in the snow. So I would, like, end of October is probably the soonest we're gonna be able to get it going, but that would be my recommendation.
45 days, correct?
40.
Warning. So
30 to 40 once
40,
it's signed.
40 days of warning.
And this one, it has to be in the reformer?
Yes.
Post it all
Let's
over.
do it right.
Put it on every
Make sure
bulletin
we're doing it
board
right
in
this
town.
time.
You can sign the warning not less than 30, not more than 40 days.
Right.
So
So-
we could do
Okay,
it
and
in
then,
September.
so-
warning.
The wording of that vote,
I thought somebody was speaking with the lawyer about it, so we had it. right.
Someone needs to speak with the lawyer about it. I think Greg, well, I was working on it with Greg. We talked to the lawyer. He clarified that if we revote, that vote takes precedent over the previous vote.
Did we have the right verbiage
But I don't have,
though?
I can talk to, I can talk to Nick tomorrow and get that wording if you'd like.
Okay, then once we have the wording, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
So if they
Yeah,
sign it at
I
the
can
next
help on
meeting.
that too. I mean, I'm back in town on Wednesday, but, the initial thought, I think tonight was just to set the date so we can get the
Okay.
topic.
That is correct.
So
Then we can get the draft wording and that kind of stuff.
so we'll just set the date then, that's what you're saying? Greg?
Let's do it like this.
That would be my recommendation
Okay.
based on, you know, that kind of starts everything else roll.
I'd rather have you and Tom talk to that attorney.
I'll talk to him, that's fine. Or Greg.
Sarah, are you thinking the 25th of October? That's a regular meeting, right? That would be a select board meeting?
Well, usually we vote on a Tuesday. I like voting on a Tuesday.
When did you-
No, we're counting, if you
Yeah, we're
sign the
counting
warning.
days, if you signed it on, The warning at the next meeting, 30 to 40 days from there is what we were looking at on the calendar.
October 5th,
No, that's a little early. We're thinking like the 18th, the week of the
the
18th.
19th.
So maybe the 19th of October?
19 days in October and 17.
19, 17 is 36. So yeah, that would be perfect.
We need to vote
Are you
on
out of
that.
town?
You got hands.
You guys want to say something?
I just want to make sure that we're separating vote for retail and then for integrated to vote yes or
That
no.
was
on each
Yes.
one.
was decided at
Okay,
a
fine.
previous meeting.
Yes, good.
Thank you.
Yes,
So I will say that timeline that's on your table is no longer 100% accurate because the Cannabis Control Board that was appointed by the state legislature never, due to COVID thingies, got pushed way back on their appointment when their executive director hired, and they never presented official rules for how cannabis is going to be regulated in the state to the state legislature as required by Act 164. So the timeline for the actual rollout of when applications, both integrated and retail, are going to be accepted and then announced who has them and then when they can start selling is still really vague. Hypothetically, integrated licenses are supposedly going to go out in April, but I was talking with, why can't I think of her name now? House Rep covers Wardsboro, Laura, or Sibilia.
Civilian.
Thank you. So I was talking with her, and apparently that's going to be one of the big things that comes up at the beginning of this next sledge session, once all the legislature actually gets back together, reevaluating what those dates are going to look like. So my suggestion would definitely be to go later in October if possible, just because none of that information is concrete yet. So we still don't know how the Cannabis Control Board is going to govern or regulate retail cannabis, and we don't even know what the timeline for applications and when it's going to start and all of that happens. And hopefully we should get clarity on that when the legislative season starts.
Which is January.
Oh, sorry.
yes.
I met with the Cannabis Commissioner several days ago with a group of growers at Burke Mountain. I don't see any reason to delay this. I feel that they're going to have it well in hand, and as it is in statute, it will not change initially unless the commission is able to convince legislatures to do this. We need to separate the vote at the point where integrated licenses are available to every Vermonter rather than 3 corporations that are out of state that own 5 licenses. I would be happy to have another vote and vote them back in. But at this time, to delay this is only trying to get close to a borderline deadline where you can go over it, where it will be grandfathered in automatically. So I object to that as a town resident. Are you a town resident?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I work for West River Valley Thrive, which is the youth substance use board that
Great.
covers
Fantastic.
Jamaica.
Okay, before this gets into a general discussion,
Where does that
should we,
Just set the date.
can we set the date?
Sure, I'll make a motion to set the date for October 19th. Is that the date we said? 2021.
Yep.
To revote on the cannabis question for retail sales and integrated licenses within the town of Vermont, or town of Jamaica.
Somebody want to second that? I'm not quite sure if I want to.
Second.
I'll second.
Jessica? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That's all in the affirmative? Okay,
So we have a date.
that's that.
So we'll work with Nick to get the language
Okay.
and make sure that that's correct.
If all, I'm speculating, but if all of that comes unraveled again, then we'll have to take it from there.
And are we planning on doing an informational meeting? I mean, that's something we could discuss later, but beforehand, last time we did an informational meeting before the vote.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
As would I. I'm also work for a prevention coalition, and I am a resident, so I work for the collaborative.
Okay.
So I would be available for information on that
Okay.
too.
We're more than willing. I think it's a good idea, just so the residents who are interested can come in and
Yes,
hear
let's
what it's
revote.
about, and hear what we're trying to do here.
And the vote could be voted down too, so.
Yeah.
A lot of
I mean,
people-
there will be
there
more
were-
information coming, there's very little at this point.
There were some people that had no idea, well, that always happens, but they were just like taking off their perks that we had that vote.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. Now it's time for public concerns. Are we all?
Andy, I'm sorry, Andy, sorry to interject, but that topic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And I did pull up a little bit more clarity. Ann Connors had come forward, I don't know, a month or two ago, and it said that she was interested in filling the role of the school district as a Jamaica representative. It's obviously, it's not a select board decision to vote her in. The school board has approved her recommendation, I guess, and she just came forward to me this morning. I believe that it'd be kind of just good business, so to speak, is to just endorse her recommendation. So I would like to state that.
We did that.
We already did that.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again, but.
We did that 2 meetings ago. When she came to the meeting here, we basically gave our endorsement of her to apply or whatever to the West River School Board. So I don't think we can do it again, like Andy said, but I think we already did
They
that.
appointed somebody the 16th.
The 6th, we appointed somebody?
No, the school board did.
She's been appointed, right?
Right, but
I
it was like
wasn't
August
there.
9th or August, whatever, July something, she came to the meeting here and said, I'm interested in being on the school board, and we said, we support that 100% because we want a Jamaica resident on the school board.
Yes, that was.
And then
Yeah,
she,
there's no vote necessary.
No vote,
just,
right.
Well, take it as maybe I'm just updating the board, that she came forward this morning.
Okay.
And
Great.
endorsed,
That's
but I
great.
also believe that we have done
yeah, that's great news though, that we now have another
Well, we have-
representative again.
She has our full support,
Yes.
speaking for the board. And I believe I told her that night and then some.
Yeah, it's on
We're
their.
very lucky to
agenda.
have her step forward
The
and
minutes
take
are-
that position.
It was on their agenda for August 16th last month.
She was appointed.
I don't know, I'm just looking at
Okay.
the agenda. I didn't
Well,
know.
all right.
and that's what he was saying, Greg was saying. Sure.
Thank you, Greg.
Yep, all right, thank you.
Now, any public concerns? Yes, Paul?
Not really, as it turns out, I was intending to be here as an EMP to give you guys an update on what's going on with Tropical Storm Hawaii. It is still getting us wet, but it's going away. We still have flood watch in Windham County, should be out tomorrow. We expect the rains to be over by tonight. Anywhere between a half to an inch and a half of rain expected. Potentially in the usual bad spots, but we can breathe a sigh of relief, most of us can. But it's kind of moved now, but just give you a heads up. And answer any questions you guys have on that.
Water Street, water was out, but it wasn't up. Wasn't scary.
It's a little higher than it was, but it's.
It's a little higher, it's not, but nothing like it was.
Nothing at all,
Nothing.
no, so far.
Nothing
The
threatening.
big concern, of course, is that we're gonna wash away the repairs that we've made over the past couple of weeks. But hopefully, we've managed to dodge this bullet once again.
But I can tell you later, I got stuck in Connecticut, and I'm telling you, I never saw so many electric and brush cutting trucks. They were everywhere, but they were over-prepared. But
Better to be
anyway, during your presentation, I have a public concern about Water Street, about in front of Tom's house. What, do we have a permit to move the brook over sometime, or is that something we have to wait for?
Well, we had the permit for the riprap that went back in there. And I believe, I gotta look at the permit again, but I'm pretty sure I asked him to include that in the permit to move the stream back to the other side.
Way bigger help.
Well, I consider the riprap
Well, I know.
emergency protective measure. Moving the stream is a non-emergency, kind of. in a way. I mean, I know for you guys it isn't,
It's
but
an emergency.
I don't wanna we can't go ahead and do a whole lot of work
Right.
on all of this until we get the declaration, so that's why
So
we're
that-
just kinda.
If FEMA comes through, I don't wanna get in the weeds on this, but, they come through and look at the riprap or whatever, they're gonna say, well, what if that wasn't good enough? Do they redo it themselves and then
Well,
I mean,
I don't think they're gonna come through and say that's not good enough. What my concern is, we did it before it was declared.
okay,
But our argument is we put it back to pre-disaster conditions, which is one of their conditions of payment. And we had storms coming in, so it needed to be protected, so.
I will say that the work where the road had collapsed was replaced, but the riprap is not replaced as it was before, farther up.
no,
Like I said, it definitely hollowed out and definitely is.
Yeah, and
on the verge
that's
of
something-
collapsing. And that's what concerns me, is that, you know, you got a 30-foot stretch and they did the 15-foot here and the other 15 or 20-foot isn't done yet, and so.
So
and
I gotta
it's-
check with Mark then to see if that was on his damage
I don't know if
assessment.
it was.
no, it's not.
Because if it was, then they know about it. If it wasn't, then it needs to be added to it. So.
All right. We'll review the timesheets for the
Any other public?
town office listers highway after.
No more public comment.
No, I'm gonna.
I
Are
just-
there any other?
I have one more thing. Just, I just remembered this. In September, I'm on the advisory committee for a conference that is being put on by Vermont Department of Health in September, both virtually and in person, about youth cannabis use, and a couple of the online sessions is specifically targeted at select board members throughout the state. So I will send you information about that in case anybody's interested. Just to further inform even before an informational session.
I'd be happy to complement that information as well, go over what he's got to present, because I'm sure I have arguments that would tell you that the youth use is actually down at this time across the United States in states that have legalized. This has been reported in studies, and I'm sure we can provide to you that if necessary.
Oh, I thought it was about select board member use.
Totally disagree on the youth being done.
The report's no, that's, I'm not here to know.
Any other public concerns or?
Move to adjourn.
That's not.
Second.
Different.
Okay, we have to vote on
Yeah, we gotta vote on it, yeah.
No, we don't. We just do it because it's fun.
that. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any opposed? See you later.